Oh man, do I have some great stats for you. Stay tuned and I'll share them.
You better get fired up.
Guys, you're going to love these. Well, I shouldn't say you're going to love them. It really depends. Are you a buyer or are you a seller? I will say if you're a seller, you're going to like the stats that I'm about to present. If you're a buyer, it's probably not going in the direction that you're hoping it's going. But let's take a look here. I stumbled upon this on Monday. Every single Monday, I meet with my staff. We go over a bunch of different stats. And one of those stats are active listings. Okay, you should be able to see my screen right now. And if I light up row 4 here, these are active listings. Single family home listings does not include townhomes, does not include condos. It's just your normal single family standing alone home. And you can see that at the beginning of the year, we had 1742. It went up to 2004, 2100 in March. And then it kind of peaked out here March through May. Started coming back down. But I'm gonna open these up, right? Because we actually do it every single Monday. Where's unhide? Here it is. So you can see that these numbers went from, this is the beginning of September, 1848, 1849, 55, 78, 85, 1912. It's going up. And you're like, well, Joe, you told me I should be excited about this. I'm not overly excited about the fact that there's more inventory on the market. That's scary. That's not helping me at all. But let's grab a calculator here. I don't know if you can see my calculator. But when I take the difference between this 1848 in September and the 1912 right now, 1912 minus 1848 is 64 divided by the 1848. And you're looking at a 3.5% increase over that time, right? And when you look at sales, which is column 8, you've got 525 versus 542, right? So 542 minus 525 divided by 525, you've only got a 3.23% increase in sales. So it's actually slowed down a little bit. So you might say, well, Joe, what are you talking about? Right? Yes, sales are going up. And yes, actives are going up, but actives are actually going up a little bit faster. But let's look at the last week. What happened from 9/29 right here to this week? Massive change. And I'm not just talking about, like, let's grab the calculator here. This difference between 1912 and 1885 is 27 divided by 1885. You're looking at a 1.4% increase in the amount of actives, which week over week, that's pretty normal, right? But sales went from 504 to 542 minus 504 divided by 504. That is a 7.5% increase in the amount of solds over a 45-day span compared to the amount of actives coming on the market being at about, 1.4%. That is a drastic difference. That's a roughly 6% difference between those two numbers, meaning we're getting a much bigger increase in sales than we are an increase in actives, which is going to bring your inventory down. And you'll see that down here. You'll see inventory went from 168.3 days to 158.7 days, almost 10 days. It came down in inventory. That's for the full market. When you break that, column 13 here, let me look and just make sure, is up to 500 grand. That market actually came down a little bit, 139.9 days to 137.4 days. But the higher end market, 500,000 plus, went from 236 days down to 216. That's 20 days it dropped in 7 days. That's massive. That's massive. And now also, look since I've been doing this, right? Now, you're not going to see every single Monday because this would be a mile long. So I've actually broken it down last year by quarter, right? The first Monday of the quarter. Here's the first Monday of the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And then once you get into this year, it's the first Monday of every month. All right. Look at these median sales prices. 420, 404, 423, 415, 412, 418, 425. I don't know that they ever go over 425. 415, 416, 420, 425. 424.5 this week for the very first time, 430. Now, I'm used to seeing when it goes up incrementally, 426, 427, 428. No, it just boom, went right to 430. That is wild. We're seeing a dramatic increase in sales, a mild increase in actives, and the median price is going up. And a lot of people are going to see that and say, how? All the news we watch say it keeps coming down. The news say that the rates are too high, prices are too high, unemployment is too high, inflation's too high. There's no way home prices could keep going up. And you might wonder why. And I'm not going to have a specific, I don't want to say specific. I'm not going to have a black and white be all end all. This is the answer. I'm going to have a guess. My guess is this. When you compare Port St. Lucie and the reasons people move to Port St. Lucie to the other options in Florida, right? Whether it's West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Sarasota, Naples. This is, of all the major cities in Florida, it's not one of, it's the most affordable big city in South Florida. So if you're a local, your perspective is, oh my gosh, prices are through the roof. And if all that sold here and all that bought here were locals, yeah, I think prices would probably stabilize. They might even come down. But we're getting people flooding in from these other major cities that are saying, hey, I can sell my place for $600,000, $800,000 and get the exact same home for $450 here in Port St. Lucie. I can now bank 6 figures worth of cash, which makes me feel comfortable. My home is the same, roughly, right? And I'm still in the middle of, I'm within 2-3 hours of all those major cities I just discussed. There's a lot I can do. Why wouldn't I do that? So people are flooding in to this area from those areas. That doesn't help those areas. So when you hear Florida's got a rough market right now, yeah, a lot of those bigger cities I was talking about, their markets are some of the toughest markets in the United States right now. But when we're the most affordable big city and you see prices going up and you see 45-day running sales going up and you ask yourself why, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's more attributing factors, but that's got to be the biggest one. If you get outside of your bubble of, oh my gosh, I make X amount of dollars. I remember when houses were $250. Now they're $450 for a median home. This is crazy. It's out of hand. It's absurd. From that sole perspective, if you don't step outside of yourself, I agree with you 100%. But if you look at it from the perspective of literally anybody else not living in Port St. Lucie, someone living in New York, way higher prices. New Jersey, way higher prices. Anywhere in California, way higher prices and taxes. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Naples, Sarasota, Fort Pierce, not Fort Pierce, Fort Myers. All of them are not just more expensive, but dramatically more expensive. This is the place to be if you want a big city and you want it to be affordable. And I'll admit, obviously I'm friends with and have great relationships with a lot of locals here. So to see those folks struggling with the prices, it's not fun. That's not what you want. I would love to see prices come down 50 grand. I'd love to see rates come down 1 or 2 points for those people. I don't think it's good for the economy. I don't think it's good for the long-term nation, but I think it would help some people purchase some homes short-term. But when you look at the reality of it, we're the cheapest thing there is. This is it. So as a home seller, if I can make a suggestion, quit listening to the doggone news and making decisions based on it. Look at data. Ask someone like me who has access to this data to share some of this data with you so you actually know what's going on in our local market, not just what some news hub tells you, looking at the Florida market as a whole. And as a buyer, I've seen a lot of buyers coming in recently, and I even did a video on this a week or two ago. They're coming in $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 underpriced on their offers. They're not getting them. They're losing them to someone else, and they're getting really frustrated. And I think the reason for that is they're hearing the news, and they're not looking at local data. They're not looking at the local stats. They're not seeing what a typical home sells for, and they're getting frustrated. My only suggestion, and this is why I do these videos, is I want you to become more educated. I want you to ask those questions. If you're paying a realtor, and I know a buyer will say, well, I don't pay a realtor, the seller pays a realtor, whatever. That realtor's being paid, and that price is absolutely where it's at because of the assumptions that seller's making based on who's paying commissions and prices and everything else. A realtor's being paid for you, whether it's you or the seller paying for it. Demand of them that they sit down for 10 minutes and just educate you on the current market expectations. What are not just offers coming in at, because who cares what offers are coming in at? What are the offers that are getting accepted and have closed in the last 30 to 60 days? What are they coming in at? 99%, 100% of asking, 90% of asking? Are they getting closing costs paid for? All of this data is at our fingertips as realtors, and we can look it up real quickly, real easily for you. Ask for it. I want you to be the smartest, most well-prepared, just best positioned buyers and sellers in this market. And if you do that, I think you're going to take not just a step, but a huge step in the right direction. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this stuff. I nerd out about it every single Wednesday here on the Florida Treasure Coast Market Update. I'd love it if you join me. We're here usually at 11 o'clock. Today we had an appointment, so we had to move it to 11:30, but we're here every single Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Have a great Wednesday and take care.